got to play Endeavor Deep Sea. Now, this is a fairly new kind of addition to the Endeavor series.
It's a standalone.
It is a standalone. That's
really new. It just came in like a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
can't get much newer than that.
Yeah. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. I will say we are currently 52 away from 1,000, which I'm super.
We're working on
52 subscribers.
Yeah, we need 52 subscribers to get to 1,000 subscribers, and that's super exciting.
Yeah, so tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends, get them to subscribe, because we're so close. I can almost taste it. All right. Robert, can you tell us? I had to mentally wait. Robert, can you tell us a little bit more about Endeavor Deep Sea?
So as Miranda mentioned, this is a brand new game. So this is the Kickstarter version. So the retail version is not available yet. Overall rank is 3,373, rated 8.3, so pretty good. Plays 1 to 4 people, unless you have the Kickstarter version, because the Kickstarter version comes with a player of 5 extra. So retail does not. Plays in 1 to 2 hours, and Board Game Geek said the sweet spot was 3 people, even though it plays up to 5. Ages 10 and up. I don't know. I think so.
Yeah.
It didn't seem too meaty.
Fine.
And I would actually, in this case, agree with them on the sweet spot being 3, in the sense that there's 6 rounds, and each player gets to be first player twice that way.
True. Designed by Carl DeVisser and Jarrett Gray. Art by Fahad Al-Rajil. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Published by Burnt Island Games. Now, the MSRP on the Kickstarter site was $81. Now, I have seen the retail version pre-sale for a pre-order for $59, which is quite a deal. But you do get some nice extras with this Kickstarter, which I'll talk about here in just a moment. The Kickstarter version was $73, and so the difference is that one is the player boards are recessed; they're not in the retail version. Yeah. All of our pieces have
screen printing.
It's screen printing, which the retail does not. Again, there's the 5th player. There's player trays, which are not in the retail version. The insert is different in this version compared to retail. And finally, you get this very wooden first player marker.
Yeah,
that looks like a wave.
And also the subs are customized, I believe, in the
retail. They're individualized.
They're the same.
Yeah,
and
they're not
you
cut
have
the
cubes
same
instead of the discs.
But so there's quite a bit of stuff that makes it unique for the Kickstarter version.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about quality of components. There's definitely a lot of wooden bits, like you said. They are screen printed, so they're really, really nice. And then you do have the inlaid player boards. There is no linen finish on the cards,
but they're really thick.
They are really thick, but there's no linen finish.
I think because they're so thick, I think I'm okay with them not having the linen, because usually the linen means that they're going to be a little more sturdy.
Yeah. So. And then the same thing with the player tiles. There are no linen finish. They're pretty standard. They're, I think, okay thickness. They're not too bad. They're not super thick or super thin. I think they're just. I think they're just right, because they're not going to. I don't think they'll bow or anything like that. Yeah. So I think they're functional. And then like you mentioned, there's a lot of storage here for this particular version, which is really, really nice. Like you get the sleeve that goes with your thing, so everything's kind of
and it tells you what goes in it, which is really nice.
There's a sheet that tells you how to take everything out and punch it and put it where it belongs.
Right.
The one thing I was disappointed in is the tray for the tiles. That is almost like an egg carton.
Yeah, it's like a recycled paper.
Yeah, and I was kind of bummed on it because you're going to pass that around a lot.
Right.
And I just feel
and if it gets wet, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah, it's not going to hold up.
All right, give it a rating, guys. What do you got?
I think I'm at an 8. I think the cardboard's a good quality. I like the thick card stock. I really like the player trays and how it's laid out. The recessed player boards are good. Not super stellar, but it's definitely a good quality.
What you got? Yeah. Okay, you got an 8. What about you?
I'll probably go 7.5. I think there's nothing outstanding that's going to wow you, but it doesn't have a huge table presence. I mean, it's neat how you customize the board in the gameplay, but that has more to do with the variance between this and the standard Endeavor. So I don't think there's anything that's outstanding to push it to an 8 for me, and I may have given it an 8 if they put a little better quality into the trays.
I'm gonna go with 7.5 as well. There's nothing that really like blows your socks off. I think everything is good. I don't think there's anything that's deficient, but there's nothing kind of wow either. Now moving on to theme. Talk about wonderful artwork. Have you seen these ocean scenes?
Yeah, the tiles are really pretty.
They're absolutely gorgeous. They have wonderful art on them. So that's really interesting. The color palette is very soothing. I think it all kind of fits very well. And even so far as like you're diving, like you are going underneath, you're discovering these tiles and you're continuing to go diving
and the mechanics fit the theme as well.
Yeah. It really does. So I think for theme, I think they did a great, absolute job on this one. I'm actually probably going to give an 8.5 for theme. I think they did a really great job, and the artwork's fantastic on the tiles.
And another thing to point out is all of the individual characters that you can choose as far as your selection for your actions have two sides to them, and the art is different on both sides. It's, you've got the junior, and then they get promoted to the expert. And I like the fact that there's all that variety.
Right.
It lends itself to this. You feel that the different scenarios you're doing have a different layout, a different story to them.
Sure. So what's your score?
I'm probably going to give it an 8.
Okay.
I think I'm going to 8 as well. I mean, it's definitely more than just layered on, but not much more. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the actual rulebook. Randy, how did that go for you?
Oh, the rulebook is actually pretty good. It's not a huge read. There's not really a cover to it. It goes straight into the rules. But you've got all the components are pictured. Always want to see that. They've got, but it's all the base retail version. So if you've got the,
it's not specific to our version.
Right. It's definitely not. It's got how all the setup rules. It doesn't once you get everything into the tiles placement holders. There's not a lot of setup.
No, there really isn't.
You get the scenario you're going to play. It tells you how to lay out the main board from the tiles. The biggest setup is going through the tiles and pulling out the ones for that, and then the ones that you're not using, there's specific like expansions, mini expansions to pull those out.
And there's 8 scenarios, by the way.
I think there's 10.
I thought there was 8.
There may be 8. I thought it was 10, but I could be wrong.
But it's a good amount of scenarios. So, and we'll talk about that when we do gameplay. But I do like the fact that there's quite a few of them.
Yeah, and then it goes through walking through the phases of the turn, because that's the most logical way to do it. And I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's not hard. The only complaint I have about it is they have the board clarifications, and they have scenario clarifications. And it is 10 because there's scenario 10 on there. I just actually put a ding in that.
Oh no!
But the ocean boards are not all inclusive. So this is another one of those cases where if you have a question, you better be about the ones that they specifically have on here. Now, the first time we played, we didn't have any questions that were not in here. Today, there was one tile that you had a question about. It wasn't a huge question, but it wasn't on here. So there's. As long as your questions follow the mold of everybody else is asking, you're good. But I don't like when they do subsets like that.
Sure.
So I think they've done a pretty good job with the rules. It's definitely a quick read. I mean, it's not really a heavy game, I would say. Once you learn the basics of it, it's probably, it's definitely a medium level, like you said. It's a 20, by the way, it's a 16-page rule book. And that includes a fairly robust scenario. Well, there's solo and co-op, and they've got it's only all on a single page on there, but they have two. You can play it co-op or competitive. But I'd say for as quick of a read as this is, it really wasn't a heavy read. I think they've done an outstanding job. I'll probably go ahead and give it an 8.
So moving on to the actual gameplay, like you said, it is pretty straightforward in the fact that there is a couple of actions you can take. one of the first tiles the first tile that you're going to get is actually your leader, which can do any of the actions. So we're going to just kind of go through those actions real quick. So the first thing you can do, obviously, is move your ship, right? So you've got, at the beginning of the game, only one submarine, but over the course of the game, you can get up to 3. You're going to be able to move that submarine up to 3 space, or how many? One space at the beginning. One space at the beginning, but depending on how far along the blue track you are, you can get additional movement spaces along with different submarines. So you'll use that. You can move. Now, in most places where you move to, there will be a benefit to actually moving there. So that's absolutely fantastic. All right, the next thing you're going to do is sonar. Sonar is basically your exploration action. So you're going to place one of your tokens here that you will have already received. I'm out of mine for this round. But then you're actually going to place it on a sonar location. Now, your sonar location, you have to have a ship there to actually do the sonar ability. So once you place it on there, you'll be able to pick 2 different tiles and then be able to choose one and put it where it goes.
They have to be from the depths that are pictured on the board. And you have, in order to go to those depths, one of the things that's unique about the game is the movement also is how deep you can go. So if you can move 3 spaces, you can also go to a depth of 3.
All right. And then the next action that we're going to talk about is diving. So there are certain locations that have diving abilities. So like this one over here, when you see these here, we actually did a lot of diving this game, so there's not very many tokens left. But you can choose to dive. You can pick one of those tiles up, and typically that tile has 3 money / basically, or another action or another ability or another bonus. And you get to choose. So you can save 1 at any given time. So if there's an action maybe that you've got coming up that you kind of want to use it for, or most of the time that is kind of your only money operation. And money is like this DNA bit, but it's essentially used as money.
And it's pretty tight in this game.
It is pretty tight. So most of the time when I dived, I wanted the money.
Yeah, me too.
And so just kind of keep that in mind. One of the next actions is conservation. So obviously there are plenty of different animals in this in the deep sea, and you want to protect them. And so to do that, obviously you have to put funds or DNA genetic material. I didn't really understand that. But back into...
You're making mutant turtles.
I guess so. To make sure that they're good to go. Okay, so...
But they're not teenage, because that would be...
well, they don't live in the sewers.
Well, not only that, it would probably be breaking an IP or something.
Yeah. So basically, you'll spend your DNA material to conserve them, and then you place, again, your marker on it. You'll get the benefits that are on the tile. Now, I will say that the deeper you go, there's often benefits from doing multiple, like if these 2 are connected, you get additional. So the further you go down, like the better stuff are slightly, and a lot of that has to do with combination, trying to get multiple things going on. All right, then the last one is writing in your journal, because you need to share with everybody what you saw in the deep sea. So each of the tiles, or not each of the tiles, but a lot of the tiles do have journal entries of certain colors, and you can end up picking up cards if they share the same color. So you'll pay the genetic material cost, and then you'll get the special bonus. Now, there are certain ones that are just bonuses for you. Like I got victory points and bonus here, but then there are other ones that like I get some really great stuff, but I also give my opponents some stuff as well. And you, again, have to match the color of the cards. Sometimes there may not be a card out there that matches the color of where you're located, and that just sucks.
Yeah.
And usually it's the only way to upgrade your actions.
You upgrade your
it's
people.
It's one of the ways. I mean, moving into a new location gives you upgrades on it.
Well, yeah, but I didn't really see any of those. I only saw them through the cards.
Yeah, that's really where most of that is at. So those are the different actions. So again,
also on the cards, some of them have action spaces where you can place tokens. They stay there once you play them.
So they're one-time actions.
It gives you bonus additional places to play, particularly if you build up
crap ton
of criteria where you're getting a lot of tokens, like I was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was getting a bunch, which worked out.
I was not getting as many, and that would end your turn quicker.
Yeah. So overall, that's basically the key thing. You place one action and it goes to the next player, so on and so forth, until everyone runs out of actions, and then you start a new round. There are 6 total rounds, and hopefully you'll have fun exploring the deep sea.
So these style, just so I think it's important to note that makes it feel just like the other Endeavor games.
Yeah.
So this is very similar to that. which I really like that aspect of Endeavor. I liked it in here as well.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that the track boards kind of guide you on your turn. So you resolve the first track, then that lets you draft your tile. Then you resolve the next track, which is getting tokens, and then the last one is removing tokens, which that can be a problem. If you don't build up that, you could have all your actions tied up from the previous round. And you got to kind of keep them all in check.
You really do.
And then the last is just your movement, but that one's not really tied to the flow of the process.
But it can affect your game.
Yeah, but it definitely affects your action choices.
Yeah, absolutely. So overall, I mean, I think it was fun. I think I'm not sure I like this one more than regular Endeavor, but I definitely thought that the art was absolutely gorgeous. And I had fun kind of diving, saving the animals, exploring, doing that kind of thing. I thought that was kind of interesting. Overall, score-wise, I'm probably going to give this a 7.5. I really enjoyed it.
I'm really surprised that you don't like this one more in the sense that the other one has conflict, that you remove other people's tiles and kind of jack with them.
Honestly, I don't remember the first one very well.
Because I was saying, the other one you're trying to take dominance on the board.
Yeah, because really the only interaction is if you go to a spot that someone else wanted to go to.
No, I will say, Randy interfered with me just enough. Thanks,
there can be blocking, but it's really the only interaction in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't know why I didn't enjoy. I will say I enjoyed this more the second playthrough than the first time.
It's because of my sunny disposition.
It really is. It's because you got to play with us, Rob.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't tell you why I don't like it more. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a good, solid game. I just not that excited about it. I don't.
Now, granted, I've only played it one time, but just the one time, I think I do like it a little bit more than the original. And I love Endeavor. Don't get me wrong. That game's wonderful. But I like the exploration aspect of this game. That really adds a different element to it that the original Endeavor doesn't have. And I just like that aspect of the game. And I think it really adds to it. So I think it tips it over the scale for me. So I think I'm at an 8, maybe even 8.5. I really liked it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, my only grievance with the game is it doesn't have the U like the first one did. That's still my favorite aspect of the fact that they give you a U so you can change it to the British spelling if you wanted. But yeah, I love loved Endeavor. I love this game. I'm probably 8.5 on it. The only thing that is there is a lot of maintenance as far as the tiles, but the other one just had a big board,
right?
So you didn't have to deal with that, but
I liked it. You got to explore.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. That's why I'm saying I think it adds to the gameplay.
I'm fine with that.
And the fact that there's 10 scenarios to play through means you can vary up some of that distribution as well. And there's little mini expansions, 3 different ones in the pack, which also were Kickstarter exclusives. So yeah, I think there's a lot of variety. This is going to get a lot of replay, and
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, around here, who knows?
I'm good.
We have games we like. We still haven't played.
Well, I luckily I got this as my Christmas present from Randy, so I'm going to enjoy this quite a bit as well.
Yep. So your copy's sitting up in my room.
Yeah, and I saw it and I was like, why do we have a second copy? And then Randy's like, it's for Rob, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. We can have a second copy for Rob. Overall, though, I did have a lot of fun. So let's say goodbye.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We had a blast. Come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
It's more noticeable on that than it is because you're passing it around, and I'm just afraid it's not.
Sorry, it's more noticeable. Sorry, go.
Is it just when I yawned? Rob spoke for a long time.
I yawned during his too, but I don't know. I'm not comfortable enough to stop and grab him.
So did you yawn during his part?
On the inside.
On the inside. You can just focus on his face during that part. Do a snippet and focus on his face.
So your face put her to sleep. My voice puts her to sleep.
Well, I mean, I'd rather have my voice be put someone to sleep versus my face, Randy. You look at me and you just go to sleep.
Sweet.
Oh, phew. Okay.
I think you might just fall asleep during this.
Well, it is past her nap time, so.
It's so true.